chin resting in her hand. Nana stares blankly out the window with a heavy sigh. Suddenly, a noise shatters the calm, causing her eyes to snap open as her body tenses in alarm. A teasing voice drifts from the doorway, where Nightingale leans, arms crossed, and wearing her signature mysterious smile. "Are you bored now that Anna's not here?" Nightingale's sudden approach makes Nana jump, spilling hot tea across the table. Though she grumbles, the mention of Anna's busy schedule brings a shadow to Nana's eyes. Everyone is fighting, except for her. It's not that she doesn't want to help, but the bloody images haunt her like a nightmare. Nana buries her burning face in her hands, torn painfully between her duty and a paralyzing fear of blood. The door bursts open with a heavy crash. A fully armored knight stumbles in, his horse please shattering the room's tranquility. "Help! Someone is severely injured." Nana's heart leaps into her throat. The infirmary is filled with curdling screams, the miner's horrific burns causing Roland to furrow his brow. In this moment of despair, rapid footsteps approach as Nana rushes to the scene, breathless, confronting the brutal reality. Faced with the mangled flesh, Nana instinctively recoils, her body trembling uncontrollably. Roland's large hand gently rests on her head, his steady strength calming her chaotic breathing and giving her the courage to face her fear. "Leave it to me." Nana takes a deep breath. Even though using magic requires self-inflicted pain, she resolutely pricks her skin. Blue magical light gathers in her palms, the miracle of life. Holy light dispels the gloom, leaving Lord Pine dumbstruck. How could this be demonic power? Watching his daughter save a life, tears of overwhelming emotion well up in his eyes, pride mixed with guilt. A miracle unfolds as the charred wounds vanish without a trace. The surviving soldier gratefully thanks the little witch, and in this moment, all of Nana's past grievances and fears melt into the warmth of acceptance. She has finally proven herself. "Am I still alive?" The miner, pulled back from the brink of death, feels as if in a dream. Surrounded by the crowd, the petite figure in green reflects in his eyes like an angel, the most beautiful sight he has ever seen. Night falls as wind and snow howl outside. Lord Pine pushes open a heavy wooden door, intending to confront them, but gasps aloud as the scene before him freezes him instantly in place. "Your Majesty, did you know all along?" Lord Pine stares at his daughter, sitting safely by the bed. The taboo word rolls in his throat before bursting out in disbelief. "A witch! Witches are demons." The once deep-rooted belief now seems utterly absurd. Lord Pine roars against his own prejudice, and seeing his daughter trembling behind the prince, tears of regret fill his eyes. The proud father falls heavily to his knees, bowing his head to the daughter he once considered a stain on the family honor. Tears well in Nana's eyes, the relief and emotion of being accepted by her family once more. Crisis averted, Roland elegantly pours a glass of red wine. None of this was a coincidence, but a carefully laid trap. Using the heavy snow to seal the mountains, he intends to rewrite the rules of the world in this borderland, turning crisis into opportunity. As long as we block the news, she won't be a terrifying witch. Roland swirls his wine, painting a bold future where Nana becomes the angel who saved the miners, a new symbol reverently praised by all. This is for the army's morale, and to plant the seeds of a new perspective. Facing Nightingale's doubts, Roland's gaze is unwavering. Without taking this crazy step, who knows if they can carve a bloody path through these chaotic times? Why do this for us? At Nightingale's persistence, Roland looks up at the starry sky, his voice gentle yet filled with power. Because here, birth does not determine destiny. I hope one day, this will be common sense. The firelight dances across Nightingale's complex expression. She thinks of her wandering sisters who once craved a safe cage, never imagining that true freedom might lie in the future this man is building before her eyes. Facing the church's threat, Roland does not flinch. Spreading his hands to Nightingale, his eyes burn with calculated madness as he vows to turn Border Town into a bastion against the divine power. He turns to gaze into the snowy night, his voice carrying the weight of destiny, swearing to carve out a sanctuary where witches and humans coexist in this frozen world. Meanwhile, at the capital Grey Castle, hooves thunder through the dark forest as a unit of crimson-cloaked knights charges like an arrow toward the towering symbol of power. Reining in his horse, First Prince Gerald gazes up at his long-lost home. Gripping his lance, the suppressed weight of destiny finally erupts within him. He has returned. Suddenly, a signal flare tears through the sky. Gerald's eyes gleam, And as the drawbridge chains crash down, the moment to seize the throne arrives. Charge! He leads the charge through the gates, the cold wind whipping his hair but failing to cool the crimson rage in his eyes. This time, he will take back what is rightfully his from his father. Deep in the courtyard, the insider awaits. Hearing the report that the guard have been switched, Gerald's expression darkens. The curtain on this carefully orchestrated coup has officially risen. The blue-robed scholar smiles, using fate to seduce the mind, claiming the deviation of Apocalypse Star is the perfect divine pretext for the prince's ascension. Innocent childhood memories in the sun have faded, leaving only a resolute silhouette under the stars. Gerald steps into the dim corridor, prepared to challenge all rules for the throne. Suddenly, the thick scent of blood assaults his senses. Gerald halts, brows furrowing as a wave of dread washes over him. This is not his father's doing. The corridor is terrifyingly silent, the plan proceeding too smoothly. Gerald's fists crackle as he clenches them. If words fail, he must resort to the ultimate violent measure. Through the crack, a pool of blood is visible. Shock instantly turns to fury, and with a deafening crash, Gerald kicks open the heavy doors of the royal chamber. The sight before him splits his soul. The old king lies in a pool of blood, and standing beside the corpse, blade in hand, is none other than his brother, Timothy. Timothy turns slowly, his blood-stained hands glaringly bright. He looks at his shocked brother with a chilling calmness and feigned resignation, as if none of this was his choice. Meanwhile, in a dimension far away, a lively encounter regarding witches unfolds, breaking the fourth wall. But let us pass over this briefly. It's a trap. At a command, armored guards swarm in from ambush. Gerald brandishes his sword and roars, only to realize he is completely surrounded with no escape. This was all your setup. Facing Gerald's roar, Timothy merely smirks, his eyes filled with mockery. This Game of Thrones was never played fairly. His trusted aide betrays him, twisting the Apocalypse Star prophecy to mark Gerald's fall. Watching the gloating Timothy, the first prince screams in despairing rage. Timothy's eyes are ice-cold as he advances. He takes no pleasure in fratricide, but he refuses to yield the throne. To face their formidable sister, he must clear all obstacles. For supreme power, brotherhood is shattered in an instant. Timothy turns his back, leaving Gerald with nothing but endless darkness and the burning fire of regret. The opulent corridor transforms into a slaughterhouse. Timothy's face twists in malice as his blade carves a crimson X through the darkness, slashing mercilessly at his own kin. Amidst spraying blood, Timothy coldly pronounces judgment. Gerald, for the crime of regicide, your head will roll on the guillotine tomorrow. Ignoring his brother's roar, Timothy shakes the forgotten speech potion, a cruel smile curling his lips. Drink this, and your voice will be silenced forever. Feigning innocence, he blames the third princess, while Gerald, being dragged away, howls in desperation. Timothy, you demon, I curse your death. With the crown secured, Timothy's gaze turns even colder as he casually threatens the old minister. Having seen my brother's fate, you know what to do, right? After forcing his subordinate to swallow poison to ensure loyalty, Timothy faces the blood-stained table alone, pounding it in rage. Damn it, it wasn't supposed to end like this. Flashback to that fateful night. Just as the old king reacted with shock to the news of Gerald's return, a dagger of regicide was silently unsheathed. Amidst the torrential rain, the old king falls into a pool of blood and shock. The young noble stands over the body, his gaze obscure behind the eye patch. The transfer of power concludes in blood. Meanwhile, in a dim corridor of Golden Harvest City, a mysterious figure gazes at the cold rain, sharply sensing the scent of conspiracy. Who is pulling the strings behind this? She spins around, her cloak snapping behind her, golden eyes burning with inviolable dominance. How dare they disturb the battle for the crown? I will make them pay. Bonus scene. To prevent this amazing manhwa from being buried, the production team literally fights behind the scenes, begging for your support and votes. Back in Border Town, on a snowy night, Roland stands by the warm castle window, gazing out at his territory, which is finally getting on track. Just as he indulges in the sweet dream of a refilled wallet, a violent tremor strikes, instantly shattering the rare tranquility. Before Roland can steady himself, a guard stumbles into the room, screaming in terror. Your Highness, emergency! A horde of demonic beasts is attacking the wall. Outside the wall, massive claws crush the ice as countless red-eyed monsters swarm like a black tide under the cover of the blizzard. Vanner, a miner-turned soldier, trembles as he grips his spear. Remembering he only joined for the lunch eggs, terror swallows him whole as he faces the hideous beasts. With a deafening boom, a massive boar-hybrid beast slams into the wall. Stone shards fly, and the guards scream in the violent tremor. The wall is hit. Long gun squad, position. The instructor's roar cuts through the storm. Vanner grits his teeth, suppressing his fear, and decides to face this life-or-death test with brute force. As demonic wolves leap up the wall, the commander stands fearless, eyes wide with rage. Don't look around. Eyes front. Let's show them what we're made of. Spears thrust forward, blood and howls erupt in the night sky. Vanner screams with eyes shut, mechanically executing the kill, turning his fear into the instinct to survive. In the bloody aftermath, the blonde youth stares in horror at his comrades' exposed intestines, screaming for help while desperately trying to bind the wound with trembling hands. Stick to the procedure. The commander's roar cuts through the panic. Watching from afar, a dark-haired figure smirks, seemingly treating the battlefield as a testing ground. Suddenly, the ground erupts. A massive green monstrosity bursts from the snow, defying all biological logic. Even the composed prince grips his weapon tighter, sweat forming on his brow. Like a nightmare straight out of a horror movie, the beast's snarling visage looms through the blizzard, its oppressive presence suffocating the defenders in the freezing night. Back on the brutal battlefield, the camp lies in ruins. Bloody paw prints scatter across the snow, silent warnings that the defense is shattered and predators are closing in. The defense collapses. Beasts flood in like a tide, shattering spears and morale alike. Desperate screams pierce the air as snow turns crimson onto the slaughter. A soldier falls, death staring him in the face. Just as the beast lunges, a calm, commanding voice cuts through the chaos. It's dangerous here. Leave now. Anna stands defiant in the blizzard, fire dancing in her eyes. She raises a hand, and a torrent of searing flame erupts, burning away the cold despair. Spiral flames strangle the boar, and a massive pillar of fire crashes down, devouring the beast. Roland turns in shock, seeing lethal fire dancing at Anna's fingertips. Roland's heart tightens. He arranged for Anna to stay behind, protecting their only spark of industry. The soldier kneels, trembling, unable to stop the witch determined to defend Bordertown. Since there's no turning back, they fight together. Nightingale gives a final warning, but Anna already stands firm before the troops. In the biting wind, she is no longer the protected, but the guardian. Snow evaporates instantly in the heat as determination burns in Anna's eyes. Spreading her arms, magic pours forth, forming an insurmountable barrier of flame that ignites the freezing night. A wall of fire rises with a roar, but the frenzied beasts break through. Two bloodthirsty wolves lunge from the inferno, while Anna stands alone, her silhouette fragile yet resolute amidst the fire and snow. In the nick of time, Anna glances back, and the prepared iron axe understands instantly. The muzzle spits a lethal tongue of fire. With a deafening roar, this shot challenges mythical beasts with mortal power. The giant wolf's head explodes under the musket fire, spraying a mist of blood. Morale soars. Not only is the breach sealed, but the prince's new weapon offers a glimpse of victory as the army counterattacks. For his highness, war cries pierce the rainy night, fear replaced by feverish battle lust. From strong warriors to the exhausted witch, everyone becomes a steel line of defense, guarding their final home. Though enemies surge like a tide onto the walls, Bordertown's defense remains unshaken. On this battlefield woven of fire and blood, every figure writes a legend of courage and survival. Bonus scene, gaze crossing dimensions. The modern subway is encroached by magic. The fourth wall breaks, and the fantasy dream of witches spreads to every corner with the speeding train. Smoke clears, and on the pre-dawn snow, the last demonic beast lies in a pool of blood. Pierced by arrows, the giant wolf lets out a final wail. Bordertown has miraculously survived the long, freezing night. We won. Cheers erupt as Carter excitedly reports the victory. Yet Roland takes no credit, knowing this triumph relied not just on gunpowder, but on the figure who burned herself out in the snow, Anna. Crap. Immersed in command, Roland suddenly realizes Anna is still out there. Just as he fears her witch identity will cause panic, her slender figure quietly appears before everyone, and the air instantly freezes. The expected riot doesn't happen. Fear seems replaced by the trust of fighting together. Just as Roland breathes a sigh of relief, he sees Anna's pale face as she sways. Having exhausted all her magic, she finally collapses into his arms. While Roland anxiously calls out to Anna, bad news arrives from distant Clearwater. Under dim candlelight, the third Princess Garcia looks grim. The King of Grey Castle is dead, and the Game of Thrones officially begins. That stupid brother would never commit suicide, nor does he have the brains to assassinate father. Garcia's eyes are cold, seeing right through the clumsy frame-up. In this purge for the throne, only the second Prince Timothy would be so ruthless. From the shadows, Garcia's voice reveals a chilling confidence. Timothy acted in haste out of fear. Fear of Garcia's Black Sail fleet. Fear of the sister who actually has the power to vie for the throne. Outside, 1,000 sails stand ready, sunlight bathing every inch of the Clearwater docks. Garcia hesitates no longer. Since her opponent has made his move, she will seize the initiative, even if it means raising an army right under the new king's nose. The night panics, reminding her of the mourning period. But to Garcia, how can rules for the dead bind the ambitions of the living? She touches her lips, revealing a ruthless smile. If he isn't willing to wait, why should I disappoint him? Do I need to go cry? There's not a trace of sorrow in those azure eyes, only a thirst for power. With a single command, the Black Sail fleet prepares to launch. For that supreme throne, kinship has turned to ash. The dimensional barrier shatters, which magic descends upon the Hangzhou subway, leaving bystanders in awe of the massive promotional art. The carriage is plastered with posters hunting for witches in the real world. A magical crossover event is in full swing. Back in Border Town, the snowy camp lies quiet, yet soldiers gripping their weapons hint at the brutal battle just past. Roland walks through the corridor, but despite the wall repairs, a shadow lingers over him. The hero of the battle remains unconscious, her fate uncertain. The bedroom atmosphere is suffocating. Watching the comatose Anna, everyone dreads the terrifying curse of the day of awakening that approaches. Nightingale closes her eyes in pain, recalling the horror of sisters burned like livestock, a bloody fate witches cannot escape. Though the Holy Mountain is a myth, in Nightingale's eyes, the dignity and shelter Roland gives Anna is the true salvation right now. Remembering her vow, tears glimmer in her eyes, a fierce resolve to protect this warmth, even in the face of death. Roland grips her hand tightly, the warmth conveying a silent promise in the freezing night, to stay by her side until the very end. Suddenly, a strange magical ripple shatters the silence. Anna screams in terror as the energy within her begins a violent awakening. Everyone recoils in terror as the dim candlelight instantly explodes into an eerie ghostly green, a form of magic never seen before. In the eye of this terrifying storm of power, Anna struggles to open her eyes, her weak voice finally setting Roland's heart at ease. Not destruction, but rebirth. As the green orb spins stably in Anna's hand, Roland keenly perceives the fundamental shift in her power. Anna stares in amazement at the green fire dancing on her fingertips. The magic that once brought pain now obeys her every command. This new power heralds a rewritten fate for witches, while beyond reality, the will named Roland seeks the reader's aid. On this snowy night after the crisis, Nightingale suddenly asks to leave, determined to return to the dangerous Cooperation Association to save more sisters. Roland calmly analyzes Anna's green fire. This new ability to control temperature at will is the key to their breakthrough. The truth emerges. Depleting mana before the day of awakening prevents the backlash. Roland has discovered not just science, but a way to survive. Upon learning this theory, hope ignites in Nightingale's eyes as she begs Roland to accept her sisters who face imminent death. Though Roland worries about the snow, Nightingale's confident smile dispels the heaviness, and a playful remark adds a touch of warmth to their parting. As the harsh winter fades, she stands by the door waving a light-hearted goodbye. Her promise to return glows with a warmth that softens the sorrow of parting. Watching her silhouette dissolve into mist, Roland sinks back into his chair. The weight of responsibility, from housing witches to upgrading steam engines, immediately floods his mind, hardening his gaze. His contemplation is shattered by Bearov rushing in, sweat dripping, with an urgent missive from Longsong's stronghold. The moment the seal is broken, the heavy silence is violently torn apart by a shout of pure disbelief. What? A cold shiver runs down his spine as his fingers graze the parchment. The king is dead, and Timothy has taken the throne. This isn't just an obituary. It's an ultimatum from a new ruler, signaling the arrival of a true political storm. At this precipice of turmoil, the gears of Border Town's fate begin to spin wildly, signaling the thunderous start of a new chapter.